Okay, we can get the recording going. It's so great to see so many wonderful faces. If you guys will start to put into the chat where you're joining us from. We've got people from all around the world with us today, so that's really fun and exciting for me. I've always liked that as far as I've always wanted that spread across my business. So love to see, I think we've got as far as Germany right now. So that's really fun for me. And so good to see everyone. And let me just set things up. I'm not going to be able to see everybody through this whole thing, but I'm waving to you all. I'm feeling you all, and I'm super excited to have you guys joining us and to be looking at your 2023. Right, this is a time to really be raising up our voices, our visibility, and growing our businesses. It's such a great time to be able to really step into this new year and to pause in the quiet of right now. So if you guys will make sure you're muted on your end, that would be great. That will help keep us, able to move through this. We're going to spend some time and just some soulful thinking and really starting to think about what it is that you want to manifest, what you want to bring into your business, into your life in 2023, what you want to release. I was listening to Tosha Silver this morning, and I belong to a forum that she does every week, and it's really fun to listen to. And she's been talking a lot about, we've been coming through this time of releasing anything that is releasing this old and stepping into the new. And so when I think about what we're doing as women entrepreneurs, it really makes me excited because I think we're leading a lot of the way on this. And so I think it's time, right? I mean, I think everything is lined up right now from a time perspective, and how we show up and how we really bring our best gifts into the world and how we are listening to that inner wisdom. I think we as women have this unique ability to be able to lead our world in new ways. And that to me is super, super exciting. And so if you guys, as we're starting to tap into this listening space, right? This listening of all that you're being called to bring into the world. You're listening to what type of business you want to create. What's the life you want to create around this? I think we're leaving behind a lot of old masculine linear ways of owning our businesses and doing our businesses, and starting to do things in a different light so that we are bringing the best of who we are as women leaders. It's like our intuition, it's our ability to connect and be in community together. That part lights me up more than anything. And so it's time right now for us to be stepping into this space, this growth, this evolution of our world, and bringing our strong feminine energy into the world and in new ways. So such a beautiful thing to do. So for those of you who are new to me, I'm Cami Gellner. I have Cami Gellner Coaching. I run mastermind programs. I've got 2 mastermind programs, the Soul+Strategy mastermind program, and also the Scale, Grow, and Impact Mastermind. And that's for 6-figure plus entrepreneurs who are really ready to scale their businesses to new levels. Both of these masterminds are grounded in the voice, vision, and visibility. And we'll talk a little bit about what voice, vision, and visibility and why that's such an important part of this. But really, it's about women's voices being raised up, right? I believe our voices matter. And I believe that our wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. And so it's really about elevating how we're showing up in the world in all of our bright fire, all of our bright light of who we are. I am the founder of the Extraordinary Women Ignite Conference. I know many of you have been to Ignite. We had it in November. It's scheduled again next year, November 2nd through 4th. I host a series of events called Extraordinary Women Connect events. And I have a podcast called Extraordinary Women Radio. I get to interview so many amazing women on the podcast. So something that I truly, truly love to do. I'm an author of Fire Dancer, Your Spiral Journey to a Life of Passion and Purpose. And I also have a deck of Pony Ponderings cards, which are daily inspiration cards. I'm a wife. I'm a mama of a 30-something-year-old, almost 40-something-year-old, believe it or not. I'm a horse lover. I've got horses in my backyard. I love nature. And I just have a huge passion for raising up women's voices. And I do believe that women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. This is, if the whole world could hear one message from me, this is really what I would love to hear, right? Or I'd love to see is our wisdom leading in a different way. And I think this is where, this is part of my mission, my vision of what I do. I'm on a mission to raise up 1 million women's voices around the world, and help them grow their businesses. And that's through a ripple effect, right? It's like me doing my work and then you're going and doing your work. And together we're really able to create great community together. So together today, we are going to really look at 2022 lessons. What are some of the things that have really shaped how we are showing up in the world, how we are listening, how we are, we've had lessons that have happened, things we want to leave behind. We're going to do some SOAR analysis. This is my version of a SWOT analysis, and it's much more elevating and aspirational. I love this over a SWOT analysis any day. We'll look at some inspirational themes for your business in 2023. And we'll look for ways that you can simplify your business. And this is something that I've been talking a lot about. It. Those of you who have been listening to me recently, you know that I've been talking about simplifying your business for more time prosperity and wealth prosperity. And that's because so many of us have left the corporate world behind, and we worked really long, lengthy hours during that time. And what I'll tell you is that I don't ever want to go back to working 80-hour weeks. And I've done a really good job of creating a business that allows me to do that. So this is something I love to share. It's like, how can we simplify? When we simplify, we actually create space for more wealth prosperity. And that's something that makes me really happy. It's like, this is how we can do good with our voices and with our resources, right? Having resources to be able to impact the world makes a difference. Women are notorious for being able to give back in bigger ways. And so that, again, it's part of that ripple effect that we get to create as women. And then finally, we'll establish a roadmap for the new year, and you'll have space to really map out what you want to be doing in each quarter and through, into the first quarter, some detailed planning. So this is the same planning tools that I recently did with my mastermind program. I've shifted them up a little bit. For those of you who are part of my mastermind program, you'll see some new things in here today. It's also the same things that I do in my own business and have done in my own business for multiple years. So this is a space for you to really tune in, listen to your soul. We're going to do plenty of soul listening, and then we'll start to put some strategy behind it. So that's where we get the soul and the strategy side of this. So to start with, I want you to take out your journal, and I want you to take out your journal, and I want you to do two things here. Get a clear page, so it looks like this. So on one side, you're going to write the highlights of 2020, and then on the other side, you're going to write the lows of 2022. It's not 2020, of 2022. So highs of 2022 and the lows of 2022. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes just to do some reflecting. And this is how we're going to start off today. Is we're going to start with these moments of reflection. And so just make that space for yourself. And I'll put some nice music on as you guys can really tune in for yourself. And then look at it from the perspective of what are the lessons that you've learned in 2022? What become your divine yeses? That thing that you feel within? And the hell knows for 2023. So, what are lessons that you're carrying forward? So, what are you taking into the new year? Oops, hold on. I thought I shut that off. Hold on. There we go. What are you taking into the new year and what are you leaving behind? And I would love to see some of this show up in the chat. What are you taking into the new year? What are you leaving behind? Shauna is leaving behind working jobs, gigs for people who don't have my best interest or don't support you. Yes, excellent. Really cutting some of those ties, right? Lauren is taking in fearlessness and confidence. Awesome. Really walking into that the year feeling that. Leaving behind doubt is Izzy saying that. Awesome, Izzy. Isabella. Izzy. My good dear friend Izzy. Leaving behind doubt. Izzy. Taking new opportunities and leaving behind a job that was breaking my spirit. Ooh, I know there's a couple of those in here. So that's really good. More fun and work balance. Leaving behind I can't, right? Taking an education and leaving disrespectful, unsupportive people and situations. This is, I mean, something that Tosha Silver was really talking about and has been talking about a lot is like this astrologically, and I'm not an astrological expert by any means, but when I look at, when I listen to the experts into this field, this is really the time for leaving behind those old things and really opening into the new. So good, guys. Keep giving voice to those because this is really what helps us start to feel lighter in how we're stepping into the new year. And when we start to release things, it's really a powerful exercise. So now I want you to start to jot down what's your 1 year view. So here we are, we're in 2022. At the end of 2023, what is it that you really want to be bringing in? Where do you want things to be? What's that 1 year view look like? So jot down a few things on that. You know, what will be different a year from now? What sorts of things are you setting up? And I'm going to keep reading these. These are awesome. Neely, I love it's crucial to maintain flexibility to serve myself and my family. That's a great one, right? And that's part of it. You know, I think this is the beauty of us as entrepreneurs. We get to create the businesses we want. So beautiful, so beautiful. listening to inner voices, taking in new resources, having more resources around us. That's so good. Leaving behind my cocoon phase. Yes, so good. Okay. So as you're starting to think about your 1 year view and what else is going to be happening, go ahead and share a few of those. What's the big breakthroughs that happen in 2023? When you think of that 1 year view. Ooh, Christine, writing your first book. Oh, I'm so excited. That makes me really happy. My business behind the scenes structures are in place. Yeah, that's a really good thing because that's freeing, right? When we get those behind the scenes, that's part of that time prosperity is if we create that by doing the right structures. Getting a book to near done place. Ooh, listen, I'm super excited about that because I've actually heard some of your book and that's exciting. That's super exciting. Yeah, so this is good. That's good. Let's keep this up. Keep bringing them in. Strengthening my ties, acquaintances. I'm working 100% self-employed, currently about 20%. So you're making that big shift. Lauren's starting her book. Mandy's butterfly, effective gathering space in Mandy's kitchen in full effect. Awesome, Mandy. So good. So we're starting to think about these, right? Kathy's got her new CEO or CE course that has been seen by 2,000 participants in the magazines. She's launching is going to have 3 to 4 editions. That's exciting. Sally is developing her work-life play development club for women. So really good stuff, guys. Really, really good stuff. Okay, so let's keep going. So now I want you to think about how we're going to start to move into this. And so I talked about having, I don't use the SWOT methodology. I use the SOAR methodology. And so SOAR is strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. So instead of a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, we're looking at strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. And you can feel there's a lightness to that, right? There's lightness in this. And that is really how we soar, is by stepping into the lightness of who we are. So I'm going to give you space and time to work on this for yourself. And you can do this. You can also do this in your journal. And I often will just do like strengths on one page, opportunities, aspirations, and results on separate pages. So that way you can continue to. We're not going to have a full amount of time that you can completely complete this, that you can completely complete this. But what I will say is it will give you the framework. I'm going to give you a little bit of space here to just think about what are your strengths of you and your business and what you're bringing into the world. What are the opportunities that you have right now that are really reachable within this year that you can really step into? Aspirations are, what are those, those things, those dreams that you really want to make happen, those bigger dreams. And think about it from the perspective of, it might be awards, it might be something that you create in your life, it might be, it can be all sorts of things. And then what are the results that you want to create? So I'm going to give you on this one, I'm going to give you probably about 5 minutes to work on this. And it's not enough time to fully do this, but you'll get started with it. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to work on this. An example of a result, Jessica, would be like the result that your business creates. It could be a revenue number. It could be the number of clients you serve. It could be, you purchase your house. It could be all sorts of things, whatever that looks like for you. And then as you start to think about all of what that is possible, what else is possible in your business? You've been looking at opportunities and aspirations, but I want you to really just tune back in one more time. What else is possible in your business? And what theme do you want to carry forward into 2023? What's your theme for the year? So my theme for 2022 was divine yeses. So it was that expansion, right? It's like what I was saying yes to things that I felt in my gut I knew were a divine yes for me, and I was saying no to things that were not a divine yes. Unless I felt like a full on yes, I was saying no to them. And so that was my divine yes, was my theme for 2022. My theme in 2021 was soft lines, and that was to get out of the hard lines of just ways of being and really feeling in my body more soft lines. So Vivica is dancing with the divine. Ooh, I like that a lot. Was that this year, Vivica, or this coming new year? 2023. I love it. Totally love it. Let's hear as you guys think about your 2023 themes. Adam, and freedom, to be, do, have. Living life 365. Yes. All on every day. Commitment. Yeah. These can be such great touchstones to come back to, because some things get messy for us, right? Christine, staying the course and calm confidence. I love both of those. Grounding. Things can get messy as entrepreneurs, and when we have this grounding space to come back to, like Joanne just said, this is a way that we can keep going, moving on the course, but it's being ourselves and doing it from a divine listening perspective. So all in, focused on foundation, the foundation of your business. That's really good, Tammy. I like that a lot for you. Gathering with community. Yeah, and then especially because you bring such wonder to gatherings of community, Mandy. I love that. Live fully, act boldly. Yeah, these are so good. So, and if it doesn't come to you today, be fine with that. Just be curious about it. I mean, this is the space in front of us. We've got space to be contemplative. We've got space to be able to be reflective over the next couple of weeks. And I highly encourage you to just keep working with, this framework that we're working in today, and go deeper with it. Just take an exercise each morning and go a little bit deeper with it. It can be really powerful. Nancy said, believe. Ruth said, have fun and show up wholeheartedly. Tess said, focus on growth of knowledge, experience, and connections. Also, all really good, guys. Good job. So, what's your big why? This is the other part of this is, when you're starting to think about your business expanding, what is your personal why? Is there, and it can be a personal why of, the changes and the transformation you make for yourself and your life, for your family, in your communities. It can be changes that you're really, seeking out to impact on the world. Jot a few of these. What's your big why? Because that's another touchstone that you can always come back to, right? Izzy says, my why is my sanity. Walking my talk. It is about time. I like it. Another thing I'll say too is trust your timing. Sometimes we always want things to come later. And Anna, yes, you'll have access to seeing the full presentation. You'll get that this afternoon. The trust the timing. It's divine timing. Whatever, we're an impatient group as entrepreneurs. We want to make things happen much more quickly than always what our timeline does for us. And what I would say is trust your timeline. You can certainly speed up timeline by putting support around you and all that sort of thing, and applying the right strategies. And we're actually going to dig into strategies here in just a moment. So that can help speed up your timelines. But sometimes there's things that just happen in life, right? That we really just have to trust. So Mandy's why is that hospitality makes my heart and soul happiest. Ruth, I love supporting others to be open and willing to discover their potential and live their life in love. Lauren Fisher, helping people with their sales. Oh, I'm so excited for this, Lauren. It's going to be so good. It's a spiritual gift, and sales drives business. I love it. So good. So really tap into that why, because that keeps us on track when things get messy in our lives and in our business. It's a way that we can keep coming back to why we do what we do. Such a powerful tool. So we spent some time in contemplation, and you guys going to have, be able to keep going into this even deeper over these next few weeks. But I want to make sure that I give you guys some tools that really help you look at your business from a strategy perspective as well. So we're going to dig into a little bit of this, and we're going to dig into how we can amplify and simplify your business success and impact. And it's really about starting to look at some of the strategies. We've been playing in the world of soul, and now we're going to look at some of the strategies. And when I look at strategies for businesses, I kind of put it into some different buckets. There's voice, and voice is really very much about the voice of who you are. It's about building your brand from the inside out, aligning your brand so that your brand sounds only like you because you're unique. And it's about really speaking your client's love language. So knowing who you serve and how you serve them, and really tapping into what is it that they aspire to, what is it that your clients aspire to, so that you can speak to that. It's about having messaging that is elevating your message from the perspective of thought leadership. So really you become a leader in your space. Vision is very much about, yes, it's a vision, the mission vision of your business, of the impact that you want to make, but it's also about the vision of life that you want to create for yourself, right? And I think this is a really important part of vision that often gets overlooked. It's like, what's the kind of business you want to create? What's the kind of lifestyle you want to create, so that you're building it to that, so it's the right packaging and pricing. And then the third one is visibility. And that's once you have your voice and your vision in place, so you have the right packaging and pricing in place, you have your marketing and branding into place, how are you going to get visible? And this is something that I want to just really, really emphasize, is you don't want to be getting visible until, oh, I still have music going. Let me turn that off. You don't want to be getting visible until you have the these foundations in place. You know, Tammy talked about some of the foundation, building the foundations for her business. So it's like the right branding, the marketing, how you speak to your clients, the right packaging and pricing. And then once those are in place, then you go get visible, because you have a place to put people as they come into your business. And then there's the R factor, which is how you resonate. So we're going to look at each of these individually and think about this from how we amplify and simplify our businesses, because that's one thing that I've really been on a mission to do in my own business, is to simplify things so that I have more white space. So this goes back to the creating time prosperity and more wealth prosperity in my business and my life, because when I simplify my business and I'm focused, I am able to have more white space on my calendar. My business grows more strongly because it's, I'm so consistent in my messaging. So this is some of the value of really looking at this. So let's look at these from one on, or, for each one of these. We're going to look at each one of these. So start with voice. So voice is very much about building your brand from the inside out. So we actually go through work of who are you at your very essence, that light of you. So thinking about who you are at your very essence, you might even jot down a few words for yourself. Who are you at your very essence, the very core of you, the strengths, the passions, the values of you, and how is that reflected in your brand? Because when you build your brand from that inside out, only you can own that space. And so that's a core part of this. The second part of this is finding clarity in your one message for the world, what I call your one message for the world. This is a thought leadership message. For example, my thought leadership message is, I believe women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. So that is, I build all of my content around that. And what's good about that is when I build all of my content around it, it's simple. So it's easy to be able to, if I need to create content, there's many ways that I can create content from my bucket of material that I talk about. Another person, so Dana Kirchmar's on her, and because is on here, and I can say hers really easily, and I love her so much. Hers is, what if we stopped asking? So Dana is a rocket scientist. I'm just going to put it there. She's my rocket scientist client, and her one message for the world is, what if we stopped asking girls if they're good at math, and just started asking them what problems they want to solve, what are they passionate about, and changing up the conversations, but quit asking girls if they're good at math. So I love that one. So, and she has all kinds of content that she talks around that. So she's got a very clear message. And so this is where we start to, we look at these different foundational pieces of our voice to make sure that we have ways that we can really elevate. So we're not just making more noise in the world. There's so much just noise out in the world. And what I encourage you to do is really find your unique way, your unique message, so that you're standing out in ways that elevates you as a leader. The third part of this one, to really simplify, is clarity in your customer journey. And this is really some really fun work that I've been working with. And, this is really about getting into understanding why clients say yes to you, What's that moment? So spend some time in these next couple of weeks thinking about all your clients that have come to you recently. What is it that they are saying, why they need you at that moment? And then what's the transformation that you help them make? And then how is it that you are able to serve them continually from that perspective? So this is really a rudimentary example of what customer journey is, but the more you can get into what your customer, when they're coming into you, what is it, what are the false beliefs that they might have when they're coming to you that they need to break through? What are the biggest, most expensive problems they're trying to solve, but also what are they aspiring to? And this is, work that we can get into when you're doing that customer journey. But the more you start to map this out and see the journey that they go on with you, the more you're really able to speak their love language. You're able to speak, to their aspirations that they're wanting to have in their life, the transformation that they're wanting. This is really good work. So spend some time mapping out your customer journey. So this is voice, right? So this is really about simplifying your message, and it's about being in alignment with your ideal clients, with your, what I call your soul clients in that journey, so that you can just speak that love language to them all the way. That you get them, right? You totally get them. So that's one way that you can simplify your business in 2023, is through voice. Looking at it through the lens of vision, one is to really be clear on your mission and do the mission vision work. I truly believe the businesses that are thriving right now are mission-driven businesses that have done their mission vision work. They know why they exist. They know the impact that they want to create. They are driven, and they're attached to that. They're not driven. That's not even the right word. They are heart-centered, attached to the impact that they can make with their work. And when we find that clarity in our work, we will stretch into bigger spaces. We will say yes to places that we may say no to. And I'll give you a great example. I'm going to rewind back several years, but there was a time where I was so terrified of jumping on stages, and I was like, I'm not growing my business on stages. I've been teaching other people to be on stages for years, even back in the corporate world, but I wasn't going to grow my business being on stages. And then when I wrote the mission statement that I wanted to impact 1 million women around the world, and that came to me over the course of a full day that I gave myself in a hotel room when I was working with flip charts around in the room that day. And I got this 1 million women vision. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that unless I am getting on stages and I get over myself, right? So this is when we find that mission, it helps us stretch into new spaces. I love stages today. And so thank goodness I got over that big fear. But one of the things that we, when we're stretching, when we're growing into new spaces, if we have that bigger mission, that really helps with us. And that can keep it simple as well. And I think that's also the energy of a mission-driven business is what's really driving a lot of success for people. If we're tied to a mission, people feel that, they feel the energy of that, and they want to be in that community. A second part of vision is having a high value offer serving an urgent need and desire. And I can't emphasize this enough. Having a high value offer where you're serving your clients in big ways means that you can charge more for what you do. And we can't build strong businesses that are a really solid foundation on a $300 a pop $300 a pop offer. We need to really think about how do we serve in bigger ways. So stretch yourself in 2023. Look at your pricing, do the math behind it, and start to look at, okay, how many of these do I need to sell to get to where I want to go? This is something that, I've got a great tool for that I work with on my clients, but it's this space of do the math, right? Do the math of knowing how many of these you need to sell to get to this number that your goal. And that's a really important part of vision. So the right packaging and pricing. And then the third part of this is a smart business model. And this is really building the foundation so that you can scale your offerings so that the way you serve your clients becomes scalable. And I'm going to give you an example of this. And just a quick little vision of this. So you can create a lot of growth by having a whole lot of products that you just, so all these, just imagine if all these little blocks were a product. So you can create a whole lot of growth in your business, and it's taking all of your time to grow that. And when you, and you can see that, you can get to a certain level, and then you're going to run out of space because there's only one of you. And so what you want to do is you want to create a scalable offer where you have just a few offerings where you're taking your clients through this as a scalable ascending offer. And this is a much better approach to look at your business model for 2023. Is like, do I have too many products? And I can tell you, I've let products go out of my business in the last couple of years because I was feeling too many products. And I continue to scale this down even more so that I can be very focused on what my core offerings are. And so how do you create this smart business model? It's simplify. You let go of the things that are really not serving your business in a big way and really move to a much more scalable approach. It's marketable. You know exactly who you serve. It is clarity in the person, that your ideal soul client. It is, really understanding their customer journey that we were just talking about. It's about being able to speak their love language so that you're bringing them into your business because you understand them so well. So it's very marketable. It's ascending. So there's a, each product builds on the next. And frankly, this upper level product probably has some of these products in it as well, so that it's scalable. This is where they're getting most of you, is in this upper level, and where they're getting less of you, they're more group oriented, is in the lower price products. It's repeatable. It's something that you can do over and over again. And it's time prosperous, right? Because this gives more time. I can tell you this shifted everything in my business. When I was doing one-on-one coaching several years ago, and my calendar was so full. In fact, I just did a podcast on Extraordinary Women Radio about this. My calendar was so full that I had no white space for me to be strategic, to be able to just even breathe. And when I started to shift into running my mastermind programs, it was group based with some one-on-one work. And then that became, I had much more space on my calendar, and I can do much more thought leadership work that way, right? That's the way that we can get out and really step into our expertise that we have and bring more thought leadership into it. So that's the smart business model. The visibility side of amplifying and simplifying is to raise up your visibility. So really simplify your marketing. Find your zone of genius. Don't do everything. And this is the nature of us as entrepreneurs. We want to do everything. I can tell you, I was on the phone with my own business coach yesterday, and she was like, simplify what you're doing. Which ones do we release? So this is something, so it's so easy for us to go, I'm going to do all these things. What if you hone it back and you do the things that you're really good at, and you keep looking at it through that lens? Then start to look at having a consistent message strategy. So that's part of the voice. It's part of carrying this forward as you're getting visible. If you've done your voice work really well, every time you get on a podcast, every time you get on a stage, every time you do, a social post, you have consistent messaging because you've done that core work. And then the third part of this is igniting your inner fire and really how you light up from a visibility perspective. So these are ways that you can amplify and simplify your business through visibility. And really, it's the big magic word here is simplify. Look at what you're doing and simplify it. Are there things you can let go? And the other part of this is just find a rhythm, so you take this content and you start to, it's the same content. And the pro tip that I have here is find 50 ways to talk about the same thing. You have expertise, you have one message for the world, you deliver value to your clients. Look for the ways that you can talk about this through different lenses. And potentially repeat topics over the year, because people aren't going to hear you every single time. So simplify to amplify. Finally, the last part of this is R factor. So how you resonate. And this is the energy of who you are. So this is showing up in our bright light, right? This is the energy of how we show up in our brightest light. And the way we do that is we do our inner work, right? This is an inside out job. And that means we make space for our mind, our body, our spirit, and our community on a daily basis. This is a touchstone chart that you guys are going to get a copy of this at the end of the call today. You'll get a copy of this. And so basically the thing is all right, did you get up and do something for your mind today? You can check that off. Did I do something for my body? Well, this morning I've got up, I did something for my mind. I haven't done something for my body yet. So I'm going to do a yoga class this afternoon. Spirit, have I done something for spirit today? I actually have. I've done some meditation. I have, am I doing something with community? I'm doing this with you guys, right? So I'm in community today. So it's like checking this off on a daily basis is a really good thing. And I promise when you start to do this on a daily basis and just pay attention to when, and we're not going to be perfect every day. This is not what this is not what the goal of this chart is. What the goal of this chart is for you to make space to even notice, did I spend time doing these sorts of things? And when we take care of our R factor, how we resonate, that's when we light up. That's how we walk into the world in our brightest light. It's how we attract people into our world because we are aligned from inside and we're really operating our businesses from an aligned perspective. So a really great tool. So voice, vision, and visibility. These are the pieces that raise up your business. These are the pieces that really takes your businesses into a new world, into a new space, into a new level. So as you were looking at your plan, what I invite you to do is to go back to, take these notes back to that and see if there's anything that needs to shift in that. And what I know is it changes businesses because I look at these group of women right here on the screen, and these are some of my clients, and they have done amazing things by applying voice, vision, and visibility. So I'll give you a couple examples here. Shelly Johnson is one who has worked with me for 2 years. She started out in my Soul+Strategy mastermind. She grew her business to 100,000 in that year. And then she joined the Scale, Grow, and Impact mastermind, the Platinum mastermind, and it grew over $200,000 in 2022. So it's that, she really amplified how she was showing up by applying voice, vision, and visibility. Another example is Jill. She came to me last year. Her business was right at 100,000. She took that and she doubled her business in this year. And so it's really been fun to see that happen. Again, voice, vision, and visibility all is what took that into, to making that possible. And Kathleen June is another one, and she is really, she's tripled her income in this past year. And she's been in the Soul+Strategy mastermind. And so it's that she really put the foundation into place that helped her grow her business really well this year. So I'm not going to talk about my mastermind programs here today. That's not why I'm here. But the thing that I do want you to know is we are kicking off in January our mastermind programs. So if you want to have if you want to know more about the mastermind programs that we focus on that voice, vision, visibility pathway, and we really get into, growing your business in an aligned way to your soul, but also bringing a lot of strategy alongside of it. Jessica's going to drop in a way that you can have a conversation. I've set up time on my calendar today and tomorrow before I turn off for the holiday. Little 15-minute sessions, but they're intention setting. And so we can talk about setting your intentions, or we can talk about your what the mastermind programs look like if that is something of interest to you. So let's keep going and amplifying your intentions and plans for 2023. So we're going to spend the remainder of our time. And we've got about 30 minutes left, and be sure you mute yourself. So if you're unmuted, I know Jessica's looking for you. So we're gonna spend the rest of our time really looking at the energies that you want to carry forward into 2023, and then starting to put pen to paper around what are the actions you need to take so that you're walking away with a really solid plan to move forward. And I felt it was really important to weave in the strategy side of this so that you can think about your business from, yes, from a soul perspective, what came to you, what, in the early soul writing, but also what is, if hopefully what the strategy side of it prompted some ideas for you to really think about that you want to shift strategically in your business. So let's go back to what are the energies you felt in 2022 and what would you like to be different? So thinking about energies that you were moving in, energies that can be emotions that you felt, it can be energies that you felt in your body, but jot down a few of those, right? What were the energies you felt in 2022? What would you like to be different? And here's the deal, guys. We can choose. So those of you that have know me that know that I have my book is a spiral, Inspire Dancer, Your Spiral Journey to a Life of Passion and Purpose. And there's two different ways we can spiral, right? We can circle in patterns over and over and over again. Have there been things that have been repeating over and over and over again in that circle cycle for you? We can also look at it from a spiral perspective where we're expanding, right? We're actually going, it's like we're growing, we're learning, the right people are coming into our lives, the right ideas are coming into your, so it might be new clients that are really expanding your vision of where you're going. It might be the right teachings coming in to help you expand. And you see the growth that comes with it, right? So there's two different ways that happen. And are there patterns that are happening right now for you that you want to make sure you break, or are you seeing opportunities for that expansion coming in? What's showing up for you from an expansion perspective? Just jot down any notes you have for yourself on that. What are you going to release, right? What are you setting free in 2023, right? And there's so much that we can do to release things. We can use sage, right? We can light some sage and we can release. We can write it down on a sheet of paper, and you can burn that and you can let that be released into the energy. So what are you releasing? And what are the high vibration commitments you're making for 2023 to yourself? These are commitments to yourself. What are the high vibration commitments you're making and when I say high vibration, you can feel that, right? You can feel the energy of, I'm making this commitment to myself to do what, right? Where's the expansion come from? Feel it in your body. What lights you up? Okay, so now let's start putting pen to paper to make this all happen for yourself. I'm going to give you a little space here. What are your 2023 goals? So you can call these goals, you can call them aspirations. Some people don't like the word goals. I actually like the word goals, but if you like it, if you want to call it aspirations, call it that. What are you wanting to make happen? What are the big goals that you're wanting to make in 2023? And I'll give you some music again. Okay, so I love this quote by Claudia Chan. She's the founder of She Summit. Somebody I've followed for a long time. Somebody I haven't gotten on my podcast yet. Somebody I'd really love to have on my podcast. Your schedule should be what you want to become, not what you want to get done. So, what is it that you want to become? And how do you schedule that, right? And that's where we start creating more time prosperity for ourselves. For example, my Fridays in 2023 are blocked off. No meetings on Fridays. I have the last week of the month blocked off so that I'm not adding meetings to that last week. That gives me space to do some of my bigger work. It gives me time and space to listen to that inner wisdom. So really building that into our calendars is part of how do we really grow? How do we expand? So what is it that you want to do for your calendar, your schedule? What's the energies that you want to become? And kind of dance with that for a moment. What do you want on your calendar? And then look at it from the perspective of what are the projects you want to accomplish. We've heard that several of you are putting books to bringing books to life. Maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you've got some courses that you want to be putting together. What's it look like? What are the projects you want to accomplish? And I would jot down. You can do this. I actually love to do it on sticky notes. So if you have sticky notes right there on your desk, you might grab them and use that and just put one project per sticky note. You can write it onto your journal as well, whatever works for you, whatever you've got handy for you right now. But if you start to think about, you don't want to have 20 projects that you want to accomplish next year that are new big projects. What you want to have is maybe one or two a quarter. So be conscious about how many of these you're creating. I'm going to give you a little bit of space here. And some of them, like, for example, those of you who know that I do Ignite every November. Ignite is part of my big projects, and it spans over multiple quarters. So that becomes one of my tasks that I'm focused on. And so I'm not adding too many other things in the mix of it. In fact, I'm hardly adding anything in November. So that's where only thing that ever makes my November schedule is Ignite and my next year planning. So be conscious of how many things you're really putting together here. I'll give you a couple minutes to work on that. Ooh, Neely, I like yours. I like your retreat. The Ritz-Carlton. Okay, now you can start to take this out. Oh, let me turn the music back off so I'm not talking over that. Now you can start to look at it. So I dropped this over onto a little chart here, and we can do quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so this was projects from 2022 for me. So I was building out these various projects in my business. And so, you can see Q1 was a little bit heavy, right? Um, and but some of these were things that I had done in the past. Like, I had done these things before. These were some newer things. So you're not going to put all of your to-dos on here, but these are like the big tasks of things that, the big projects that you're working on per quarter. So I actually love to see 2 to 3 at max. This is generally too many. But you'll see that, where I started Ignite Marketing in Q3, I started back end planning in Q2, and then this was all about Ignite. So you can see how that flows, and this starts to spread things out. So because so often what we want to do is we want to put everything in the first quarter, and that's a really typical thing that we do in our planning. So spread it out, and be really honest with yourself. Does this feel light? Does this feel expansive? And that's always that question. We can check in with our gut. We can say, does this feel good? Or do I really need to move this around? Or does this need to go? And here's the other piece of this is what I can tell you when I look at this right now from my 2022, just reflecting back on it. This got started in Q1 and carried forward into Q2. I didn't do the Prosperous Podcast guest launch last year. I didn't focus on that content. I shifted my focus. So we get to make changes in this. This is not written in stone by any means. And so, this feels, when you know that this is a working document. So Barbara just said, I have all of 2023 planned in Second Act Women, and it feels really good, right? It starts to feel light, right? That's what are the words that come to mind for you, Barbara, when you think about it feels great? What do you notice in your body when you think about that? We'd love to hear that. Accomplished, right? Yeah. Inspired. Yeah. So this is really good work that we can do. And then here's the way that you can get really calm about this. So if you were to look at your Q1, whatever you put into your Q1. Oh, have I given you guys enough space? Why don't you do that for a moment? Do that first. Let me give you a couple minutes to kind of put your things into your buckets into Q1, 2, 3, and 4. I want to make sure you have a little bit of space to do that. And Noelle's just given us a great example that will work really well for the next part of this. So thank you for that, Noelle. Okay, as you start to do that, then you're going to take out another sheet of paper, and you're going to write 1 through 12, just down, down the side of, the left side of the page. So you just be writing down the left side of the page, 1 through 12. And then what you'll do is you'll say, this is week 1. So we're going to use Noelle's example that she just put in here. So she's got all this risk management training program ideas in her head. So her week 1 might be just writing down what are all those ideas. That might be the only thing she does that week. Then week 2, she's starting to say, okay, how do these start to fit together? How do these map together? And start to put together this, like a framework for this training. She might week 3 be thinking about, or she might even flip week 2 and week 3, because I'm just going to go into some. Our good friend Kathleen June, who does a lot of instructional design, would ask us to say why why am I doing this training? What do I want them to walk away with? That might be week 2. And then week 3 might be, okay, here's all the ideas and how they might fit together. And then week 4 might be, okay, I'll start to build it. Week 5. So you can just do one step towards one of those. And that's why I only have you put 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 projects in a quarter, because then you can, over the course of the first 12 weeks of the year, you're moving one step at a time towards getting those things accomplished. And just put one thing. And so it's one thing that you can do in about 90 minutes in a week. So find like 90 minutes that is dedicated to that task. And chances are most things that we have in our head, if we give ourselves focused time on 90 minutes of accomplishing that one task, we can make that happen. So really parse it out that way. So I'll give you a little bit of time. I'm not going to give you time to do all 12 weeks, but just to get it started so you can get the flow of that. Ooh, Barbara, I love that you plan this way too. I had a business coach years ago teach me this little trick. Tommy Wolf taught this to me. Oh, the 12-week year. Yeah, I've not ever read that one. Okay, as you guys have been writing some of these down, how does it feel to have just some of your projects mapped out and starting to just put tasks to it to bring that to life? Would love to hear. Just drop it in the chat how it makes you feel. Clear, right? Okay. Empowered, accomplished, empowered and relaxed. Yeah. The calm piece of it, the relaxed piece of it is good. Focused, right? That's a really good one, is that we can be focused. And that's what simplifies things, right? I mean, we talk about simplifying, less schizophrenic, because you have a roadmap that you're starting to do. And I think this test, that's a really great example. It's actually doable. And that's the beauty of putting just a few things a quarter, and then following up with the week 1 through 12. What are the things? You guys will see the progress, and that's what I think is super cool when that really starts to happen. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, a couple other things I want to talk about, just because I have been talking about shifting from time scarcity to time prosperity a lot. I did a whole podcast on this past week, and some things that you can really do. One is make sure that you're booking on your calendar CEO days. When I talked about Fridays, those are my CEO days. Those are days where I'm not doing meetings, but that's where I get to work on my stuff. So make sure you do that. Rituals. What are the rituals that you have? Where are you creating rituals for yourself? Do you have a morning ritual? What do you want in it? And it's part of it's that R factor, right? It's the mind, the body, the spirit, and the community. Are you making space for mind, body, and spirit, especially? And community comes in later in the day, but are there ways that you bring rituals into your life? How are you moving your body every day? How are you making space for your mindset? What are the rituals you want to create? And even maybe, this can be a ritual, right? Making space for yourself in the next couple of weeks where you take some of this writing a little bit deeper. So that's something that you can work with. You can recognize when we fall into old patterns. And this is something I'm totally guilty of. It's like, I'm a doer. I like to get things done. And that soul time piece is a newer part for me. I mean, that was not something I did in the corporate world, 15 years ago. I did nothing soul spirit wise. And so I have always been my whole career, I've been, somebody that could get things done. And then I would forget to do the soul work. So that's an old pattern that I can fall into. And so as long as I'm making rituals and I'm making that space for myself, I stay out of that, I stay attuned into that wisdom inside. But, recognize what your patterns are and then put the safeguards around it so that you can, catch yourself and, that you're watching when those patterns start to show up. Remember those patterns, the patterns of being in a circle over and over and over again. Right. I mean, I think it's so important to look for the ways that we're always finding more expansion. And then another way to really look at shifting from time scarcity to time prosperity is around the support you put around yourself, because that helps you put the right structures and the right business models in place, the right lessons and learnings. I mean, there's always somebody that's gone before us that we're learning from. I mentioned to you that I have a business coach. I have an incubator community. So having people around us to really help us on these journeys can be really, really helpful. So those are ways that you can really shift that and move that into this more prosperous space of feeling and openness. So there's that. As you reflect back on your 2021 goals, and I highly recommend you go pull those out and look at them. What were your goals for 2021? What got in the way? What was released? What got left on the table? It's like that. What got released is what it was. It just really didn't fit in my business anymore. What got left on the table? What needs to be different? You might just take a screenshot of this one, so that you've got it to come back to. But these are good questions to reflect back on as you look into the new year. So you can look for the ways that you can, say, okay, I had these patterns that I fell back into, or, I really wanted to get this done, but it didn't get done. Why? And it may be that it really just wasn't, meant to be there anymore. It may be that you just ran out of time and it wasn't a priority. What needs to be different in 2023? And I should have changed that too, reflecting back to your 2021 goals. It's your 2022 goals, excuse me. So with that is wrapping up all that we're going to do today. And what I would say is, if I am available this afternoon, I'm available tomorrow afternoon, and these in the short little intention setting conversation. And these are really for you to cement into place your intentions that you've set forth here, the ideas that you're bringing to life. And if you want just a little thought partnership on thinking through your plan for 2023, that's what this is about. I'm excited. I know that a few of you have already signed up for that. I've seen some of you dropping me some private notes. I'm excited about having conversations with each one of you. And with that, I'm going to close up today. Thank you so much. I am wishing you all a very happy holiday, a merry new year, and thank you for joining me today. And I'm excited for all of your businesses in 2023. This is a year for you to really step into your growth, into your expansion, and do it in a way that's aligned with you. Don't do it in a way that everybody says you have to do it this way. Do it in a way that's aligned with you. Listen to that inner wisdom, put the right strategies around it, and it's a magical combination for success in your 2023. With that, I'm going to send you big love and kisses, and Happy New Year, happy Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all the seasons, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Cami.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.